What's going on, family? Welcome to another episode of Room 518. It's your boy T Real, aka Big Country, and we always have our guy Dant in the studio today. We're looking forward to talking to y'all, man, and having a good conversation. Really, we're just gonna reflect, man. We appreciate you guys for coming for the first month or 5 episodes of The Quiet Loud. Shit, not The Quiet Loud, but another 5 episodes of the Room 518. So, as we get going, man, Dant, how your week been going?
It's been doing pretty good, man. I
What's
was
up?
about to say, where am I for a minute? But so I got a guest joining me today on the Quiet Loud. All right, it's been pretty good, man. It's getting a little bit warmer. I'm glad for it to not be so ice cold, so frigid outside lately. So all that has just been a blessing to just be able to go outside, get some sun on my face, and not be freezing. There's nothing to complain about other than everything else that's going on in the world today. But
Oh, we ain't gonna
yeah,
worry
man,
about
what's up
that.
with you?
Man, honestly, it's been a pretty good week, bro. Nothing crazy has happened this week. Same here. It's getting warm. I finally got the rest of the material for my deck to do the front porch. So I really wanted to start the day, but got the daughter back from the doctor, and I kind of just took a nap with her, and it turned into a long nap. So we're gonna start that tomorrow. We're gonna get it done though. I'm doing some work on the truck too, so I ain't making too much noise, man. Just excited about this episode, man. Excited to really get into the what we're doing going forward, man. But to be able to reflect on some of the stuff that we've done this week, to me, is pretty cool, bro. So that's what I'm looking forward to, man. I know we dropped the video of some lost clips that we had, and we're getting a lot of response because I was on a rant
Yeah.
about Skittles.
And the hidden thing about that people don't know about that clip, and that clip is doing well. If you just, I don't know if you guys have seen it yet, listener, but it's just it's on Instagram, our Instagram, and Thorell is kind of just ranting and raving about consuming Skittles. But the truth of the matter is, what's so funny about that to me, the hidden funny in that clip is that I was there. Except
Yeah.
that we were having, so it wasn't so much a one person, like a one-to-one rant. Yeah, we were having a conversation, but I don't appear in any of this stuff because I was having audio issues that episode. And so every time I'm looking at it, I'm like, what was I saying? Was I saying anything right there? Were we interacting? And I think we were, but it just seems like such a hilarious run you were going on. So I think that it works out better without me in it. Honestly, I don't
Yo.
remember what I might have said during that time.
So it's funny, Slick, a highlight of the beginning of our show and just our process as we've started, man. So we just wanted to share these moments with you as we kind of go back and look at stuff and be like, oh man, that was awesome. Like, that was dope. Like, how did we get here? So
Yeah, yeah.
I love where we growing, bro. I love where we going, and it's
Yeah.
awesome. So
Yeah, man, and to be honest, not to cut you off, to be
no, you good.
honest, there's our clips on the YouTube channel have been doing really well. And that just kind of got us to thinking a bit. Maybe we should share some of the clips that stood out to us over time, but also maybe a couple that folks might not have seen if they didn't go that deep into the episode or whatever the case may be. And that happens. Sometimes people are rocking with us. You only got 30 minutes of a drive, or you only at the gym for however long. And sometimes you don't get a chance to come back to it because by that time, another episode might have dropped or something else got your attention. And we understand this. So, we ain't tripping. Just come on back and check us out again. And we thought we'd share some of our top favorites with you guys today. So, I don't know. What have you been thinking about, Thurl?
And man, that's about right, man. I was thinking about I was looking at one of our top favorites, and it was actually one of the earlier shows for sure. Because we're not gonna do all of them. We actually went through a list
Man.
of them, but we had to break them down to about 5 of them.
So many
So
clips.
many moments where we like, yo, that was really good, man. But the first one would have been 50% dating, dude. And that clip really stood out to me. Mostly because of the information that we got out of that clip, bros. If you want to cut to it, man, we can take a look at it, and y'all tell us what y'all thought about it when you saw it, and we can go from there, man. 45 to 50% of men aged 18 to 25 have never approached a woman in person to ask for a date. 50%, bro.
Wow.
50%. So, Now, me personally, bro, when I heard that, I was kind of floored.
I think I was one of those people that could have been in that 50% that was having a tougher time, but kind of walking straight up to somebody. But because of the time period we were in, I still had the training.
Who's giving the training now? Like, what big brother is saying, "Hey, man, it's what we got to go out. We got to go out, bro." And what you doing when you go out? Because I can be honest, man. The last time I done went out, the guys just stand around. And I mean, and to a certain extent, you would say that we did too as kids. But I definitely didn't mind getting on the floor and dancing. You know what I mean? I think
You
for
can dance
me,
though.
I can't dance good,
You
bro.
can dance. You could. I mean, I remember you going down and doing the whole "my pops never locked." You know what I'm saying? I can look, I can stand out there and look cool, but
All right, Dad. Funniest shit ever. My pops never locked face,
that was pretty good. That was
bro.
that was pretty good.
Man,
I'll
it's
say that
crazy
was pretty
because
good.
I
Go
look
ahead.
at the clip and I see how far we've come, and just from just me talking and me trying to figure out where the camera is, and looking at some of the way that I'm producing, and honestly, that's gonna keep growing, right? But
Yeah, for
I
sure.
remember that clip. That clip stands out to me just because when we first were like, what are we gonna talk about? What are we gonna talk about? And then that comes out of nowhere, and I'm just like, dude, people really, this is really going on. But the biggest thing is I'm learning to speed up what I gotta say. I think that's important. But that clip
You did
stands out to
comment
me
on that
just
a
because
lot.
of that. You said what?
You did comment on that a lot. The kind of tempo of your speech in the
That shit was
earlier
pissing me off,
episodes.
bro. It was pissing me off early, man. So
I don't think I really paid much attention to it. I don't think you were speaking slowly. I tell you what I did notice though. I can
what?
tell this was you were all in on it because your hands were steepled while you were talking. You're like, uh, brothers go and, they're making sure we know what we're supposed to be doing. And when a brother put them two hands together, boy, they get serious about what's going on. And he like, what I'm saying is just, they
Yes.
don't have that today. They don't really have that. And so I was like, oh yeah, that's serious business. He was locked in on that particular conversation. But on the other side of releasing that clip in that episode, I think there was some conversation around it. People were talking about what it was like when they were on the dating end, whether their relationships predated this big explosion of online and dating apps and whatever else, or if it came after the fact. So
Yeah.
it's interesting hearing the different schools of thought when you start mixing generation and that technology, whether they're for or against it, because you can find some people who are out of a long-term relationship or maybe post-divorce or something like that and have kind of found their footing inside of these dating apps and online dating or whatever the case is going to be. But then you could have some people who are totally disaffected by it, who are older, and some folks who are younger who are maybe craving a little bit more face-to-face interaction. So I think it definitely, for two not single guys, I think this definitely opened up some conversation amongst people. So I
Yeah.
thought it was a really good clip. That's a good
I actually
choice.
had conversations at work about it with people who follow at the job, and they like, "Yo, I never thought about it like that." Or same deal. Some older people were like, "Man, shoot, getting back into the dating market." So older lady told me, "Shit, you talking about 18 to 25-year-olds, 40 to 60-year-olds." I'm like, that's a big stretch of people that you're dating, them. But never my
Hey,
business.
hey, I guess once you get up into that range,
It's all fair
are
game.
you know what I mean? Now, I think 60
You
might be a
know,
little out of reach for me if I was out there, you know what I mean? My parents are in that realm. I'm not thinking about people in that same generation, but I don't begrudge anybody who does. I mean, you go
like who
out and
you
do
like.
you. I'm just saying that's not my particular thing, but I'm not even in a place to even be, concerning myself with that anyway. But
For
yeah,
sure. Man.
I think it was a really good clip, man. Should I take number two?
Yeah, take number two,
Is it my
bro.
turn? All right, I chose the Black Women Are Unstoppable clip. I think that this is something I think is mostly, from my recollection, I think it's mostly you, but there were some good points made there about, you know, I think historically, Black women kind of always being at our backs and having our backs and being the reliable ones and the ones who get the business done. And I think you were highlighting some elected officials that are on the up and coming who are really out there holding up this same thing that you're talking about. This, they have our backs. They are leading the charge. They are making sure that we don't drop the ball. And that was a clip that really kind of moved me. So I think we should look at that one.
I was
Yeah.
actually hear Jasmine Crockett actually see Jasmine Crockett post about that yesterday actually,
Hmm.
and she be giving the Trump. They don't like her. That's when
No,
they don't like.
no.
It's the reason why they be scared of black women, because black women cross all the T's, dot all the I's. Man, hey, look, when it comes to a black woman that has put it together, black men, we know when we listening to a white man try to argue with a black woman, we looking like
He don't
you're
know.
not gonna win that.
I mean, he's already lost. The moment you started digging in, it was over.
It was
You know
over.
what
The
I'm
woman,
saying?
when you saw her
It was
face,
over.
when you saw her eyes get big,
She
was
did a
done.
"that's what I wanted you to do" kind of a face, like I
Yeah.
expected this. I was ready for this. Here we go.
Yep.
And everybody else kind of leans in because it's about to be tough.
I like that one,
Yeah,
bro.
that was a good clip, man. I think it was a good clip. No lies were told, man. No lies were told. And I think when you look out into the world, there is no way to get around just what was said there. In every direction you look, in every industry you look, in all of our homes, you know what I mean? There is somebody there holding us up, making sure I's are dotted, T's are crossed, checking for details that we might be missing as we steamroll through life.
You
And
know,
yeah, I think it's a good clip.
and what's crazy about this clip, man, is realistically, man, you can look back to the 60s and see the same thing. Like the cornerstones of our families have always been the black woman. It's always a black man doing probably breaking his back in the older families, in the older family dynamic, which we've gotten away from. We need that, right? But imagine how much more powerful we would be as a community if we could get black women and black men back in the household together, man. It's crazy because that's what, reflecting on that clip, that's what I get. You know what I mean? We've taken two powerful dynamics, one that crosses every T, dots up every I, and one that just knows how to work hard, knows how to bleed, two different styles of
Mm,
people that we've kind of, two different facets of our community that we've allowed people to break apart, man. But that clip stood out to me really because of, it came out of nowhere when we were talking about it. We were talking about there's a rant, not a rant, but there's a part where you were talking about Fannie Willis, and we really
okay.
discussed her trial and how she handled those lawyers, even though they had a perspective where they found something that they could kind of smear her with. Just that whole process and how she really she was in there really getting to it, and it's just
Yeah.
like they need to leave
Yeah.
her alone.
Yeah.
So that clip, that's the reason that stood out to me so much, bro. I really appreciated what we were able to dive into, because we didn't even dive into the lawyer in New York. We didn't really get into the bag of some of those. I mean, even
Letitia James.
yeah, man, so it was just how powerful those women are, how they were relentless, and they're not fearful at all.
Yeah.
They go and
And yeah.
you
Mm.
got it, you got
Okay,
it.
well, what I was gonna say is, you're absolutely right. I mean, you bring up Fonnie Willis, and then you bring up Letitia James. But to be honest, I was still just piggybacking on the Fonnie Willis thing. Is I think, she brought a great case. The
Mhm.
problem with that is you're right. She gave them something that they could use as fodder against her, and thereby the case as well, which just really goes to show you, did she really do anything that white male predecessors have not been doing, throughout history? Okay, she seemingly had some kind of interpersonal relationship with, somebody working in her office. Should she have done it? No. I mean, come on. Look what we had riding on that. We were, she had a former president of the United States on trial. You know what I mean? You got to be bulletproof. And already as black people, and even further as a black woman, we already know that we've been taught you got to be 2 or 3 times as good, 2 or 3 times as more prepared, 2 or 3 times as
Yep,
bulletproof in your approach. You know
yep.
what I mean? And I think on that regard, I was a tiny bit let down because I'm like, come on, Fonny, 3 times.
Come
You know
on,
what I'm
man.
saying? Like, we was supposed to be, this was high stakes. You know
Was
what
the
I
dick
mean?
that good? Was the dick that good? God.
You know what I mean? And so, and I know that is a completely, I won't say it's completely unfair, but I'm saying I think it's unfair because so many of these white male dudes have gotten away with doing this same thing for years and years and years. And this is what y'all
No, we're
chose,
watching
you
it
know?
publicly happen, and on the
Right,
worst scale of that, they're getting
right,
away with rape right
right.
now. They're not getting away with sexual relationships.
With
They're
a
getting away with
consensual
yeah,
relationship between a
they're getting away
colleague,
with
and you're trying to make something out of what it is, saying that you hired this man, and basically you saying that this black man received a check from you and basically turned it back around to give to you in favors, and all of
bro.
it fell flat. All of it fell flat. To turn around and say, well, who paid for this thing? Well, I pay for all my stuff. Here you go. Here's your receipts. I pay for all my
Yeah,
stuff. You know what I mean? I didn't need
yeah,
him for that. I hired him because I thought he was the best guy. I just think, good Lord, why didn't you wait until the trial was over? Wait
yeah. You
until the
just picked
trial
the
is
wrong
over.
time.
I don't care what you do. Wait until the
Just
trial
doing
is
it the
over.
right
There needs
time.
to be no distractions when we're handling something of these high stakes. But on that note, I say, Fonda, hey, you handle business. I'm not going to
I
throw
salute
anything else at you other than the fact that we had this man and he slipped through our fingers on the technicality. But
you. Yep.
if we're looking at what's happening in the world, like you just said, there's going to be other chances. So
Yeah, no, and that's where I was gonna end
I'm
with
going to
on this.
leave it at that.
I
Yeah.
think that
Yeah.
the way I look at it, I really believe that we're gonna the change in this world is gonna happen because of a black woman. That's the reason I wanted Camilla to win. Somebody asked me, they said, I mean, being honest, I don't think a black man
I'm
gonna
just
do it right
laughing
now.
because you called her Camilla.
Kamala, Kamala, Kamala,
Okay, go ahead.
Kamala.
I
Th-
mean, that's a way to give somebody, that's a heck of a compliment, like a backhanded compliment. I mean, it's gonna come on the heels of a black woman. That's why I was waiting on Camilla to come in here and get the job
Bro, you dirty, man. You calling me out. Look,
done. I'm
but the
sorry.
truth
I'm
is,
sorry.
no, but the truth is though, like
I don't charge it
that's the
to
reason
your
why
heart.
they smeared her name so hard, and they called her you gotta really pour dirt on a black woman or a black man, but you really gotta pour dirt on a black woman when you don't want them to win. And to call her the Antichrist while you had a white guy doing everything in the world that looked so bad. I'm like, yo, are y'all serious? I mean, and I think what disappointed me is that we even had 18 to 19% of black men who were with it. And I was just like, dude, this is weird, dude. Because
Yeah. Yeah.
we should have been 92, 93% with our black women. Anybody who was
But see, that's
ignorant.
the thing. They are so good, and we've talked about this. Sorry about cutting you off. We've talked about this before.
Mhm,
The way that they drive wedges so that you have to pick one side or another. So then
mhm.
you got white people trying to convince black people that this black lady ain't black enough because her mama is Indian and her dad is Jamaican.
And she
So
married to a white man. Like, come on, man. Like
so
he just like
somehow,
black women. What? He just
right.
like black women. It's
And she
still
was a prosecutor, so you're saying, well, she put black people in jail. Well, it would have been weird if she just was like, I'm a prosecutor for this whole state, but I'm not gonna prosecute no black people though. I mean, come
thank you.
on.
That's
That just
bro,
sounds stupid. So they find a
bro.
way to drive a wedge in between us,
Yeah.
so that you can't experience black pride for a person because, or even pride in her, because they want to take that away and drive a wedge to say you can either be on this side or that. And what irks me is when people take that bait.
You know
But
what?
yeah, go
And
ahead.
it's tantamount to what you've seen with President Obama being a great president he is, and you get black people in the community goes, well, what did he do for black people? And I'm like, dude, he represented us well as what he did. What you
He
thought he
come
was
on,
supposed
come
to do?
on.
Did you not watch him have
He
both his
wasn't.
hands tied behind his back and still
Come
became the
on,
best president to ever be the
come
president?
on,
Like, come
come
on.
on.
They had this man hand tied.
And
I'm
he
like, dude,
wasn't president of the Black United States, like
he
he
was
was
president.
president of the United States.
Exactly.
You
Like if
know,
he would have
come
did
on.
anything other than what he did, he would have been assassinated. Like, and I don't think people realize that the first black person to do anything, their job is always just to do the job
Just
well.
survive, get it
Yeah,
done.
and be
And
the
he
best
did
at the
so
job.
much more than that too. He did so much
Yeah,
more than that. And
definitely,
I
definitely, I
think there's
agree.
a lot of people out there just speaking on black women being unstoppable. I think who knows what's going to happen with Vice President Harris, if she'll decide to run again, if she doesn't. But there's going to be other people who are going to step into that fray. But what I can say for her and for a bunch of people out there who are regretting their votes is that she would have been a heck of a lot better than the person who is occupying that office right now. And that is hands down the truth. So you can say whatever you want to say, but the truth of the matter is people are standing in the situation we're in right now and looking back to a year and a half ago, wishing they made a different choice that November. So Black women are in fact unstoppable.
And we salute you, Black women. And so that ends now. That ends that particular segment. Now, 3 was actually me. This one was hoodwinked by success. I don't know if you guys watched that episode, the episode where we talked about economics and kind of how things were going. I will say I might have been a little tipsy, but we're gonna let video play. Hoodwinked by success, man. Number 3 as far as the top videos, top spotlights that we can show you from these first 5 episodes.
And it gives people, I think, a real valid reason to be bitter. I mean, we're the generation who had parents who watched us and cared and gave us more, and they said that we were going to be the soft ones. We were the ones who weren't going to be able to get it done. It turned out not to be true.
But
But
we were
I think
hoodwinked. We were hoodwinked. They whooped our ass and told us we had to do good in school so that we could be successful. Now now the success don't add up to shit. They hoodwinked the shit out of us, bro.
People are struggling. You know, I mean, they absolutely are struggling, and it doesn't matter where you came from or what your degree says. It can change on you.
Definitely.
Good clip.
But I drank to get
What
looks.
makes you say that?
Because of the way I yelled into that mic. Like, I know I get animated, but damn, I was a little bit over the top. I watched that. I thought it was funny when I rewatched it, bro. But I was like, yeah, I was definitely a little. I drank my drink a little too fast. I clearly drank my drink a little too fast that night, man. Exactly, drank my drink a little too
Hey, well, you know.
fast that night.
But I think you weren't wrong though.
No, no.
No.
I will say, I think that I pissed some people off. So that
Okay, dig in
episode.
on that.
That episode, we got some response from older people. You know, we're a growing platform, and that's the reason we're doing this, guys. But I will say, people like my mom, people who are from the older generation who had to really work and grind to get to where we are. When we say these things, it's no offense to what you guys have did, and it's not to degrade our ancestors or our predecessors for what they've done to get us to this point. Because
Absolutely.
let's be honest with you, the civil rights movement, or if you're talking about after the civil rights movement, all of those things come with a certain amount of hard work that Black people had to endure to get to where we ended up ultimately being. But in saying that, once they had the opportunity, if the money made sense, they were still able to kind of figure it out. But right now we're living in a society, and this particular episode wasn't about Black or white. It was about the coming American kid growing up in America. And so this one stood out to me, man, because we literally me and Dad living it. We doing it right now. You know what I'm saying? Our parents got houses that we're making the same amount of money damn near our parents were making 20 years ago. And the houses that we live in cost almost triple the amount of money. Something to be said about that. But it
There's
was a
something to
great
be said about
episode.
that.
What
Yeah,
you
and
had, because you were telling me about a situation, I think you told me about somebody who you heard from too on this episode. But what you got?
Yeah, I was about to say, just piggybacking on the first thing that you said is generationally, I think you're absolutely right. We weren't taking shots at any generations that preceded us. What we're saying is that it was no way that our folks could foretell what was going to happen in the job market out there. And of course, each generation, wants the next generation to go further, to run that ball further than the generation preceding it. And so if you came from a family who, say, 3-4 generations back, that patriarch might have finished middle school, you know what I mean? And had to go out and work as a teenager and, had children young, got married young, all they know is work. All they know is struggle. All they know is if I don't get up today, sick or not, we might not eat today. We might not
Yep.
pay the bills. We might not this, that, and the other. So it becomes you need to be employed, is what they're telling their next generation. You get you a good job, and that thing's going to take care of your family. And then they go forward a generation, and then they're able to do a little bit better. And now they're saying, hey, we have more opportunity here. We can go to some of the same schools as these folks. It seems like there's a bit of an equalizer here. So go as far as you can with your education. Go as far as you possibly can with your education. That'll be an equalizer for you. And for a time, it was. And
Yeah.
as we started coming, we had parents who had done even better than the generation before them and were able to provide us more means, a little bit more wisdom, that whole thing. But they hadn't gone that full measure yet. And they wanted that for us, like air to breathe. You got to get over this next hurdle that we didn't make it to. And we did. We went to college. You know what I mean? And this generation went to college more than any other one did so far, discounting, the ones that are in school right now, the generation that's in
Exactly.
school right now. But we did that. And when you look forward now at people who are now starting to scratch middle age is and up, they don't have the same kind of security that a person working a factory job had 30 years ago. And these people, in a lot of cases, are educated folks, and they're not finding a place for them in the market. That American dream looks just like that. It looks like a dream. It doesn't look like something that is wholly attainable. And the American dream now looks like something you have to cut out for yourself.
Yeah.
So it looks like it's kind of reverting a little bit, and you're going to need some wisdom from all the way around now. Now it's going to have to be a mixture of things, not only just your education, but what do you bring to it? What skills do you bring to bear so that you can carve out a place for yourself in this marketplace? So
You speak right.
I just want to say first and foremost to anybody who might have felt offended by something that we said and that was not what we were looking for. I hadn't heard that, but now that I'm thinking it, now that when you bring that up, I say absolutely I could see because when you say something like hoodwinked by success, I don't think we were hoodwinked by our parents. I think that they all did the best that they could by us. They all gave us the game such as they had it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
And so I'm not thinking that anybody, uncles, aunts, grandparents, whoever, everybody gave you the benefit of what they had to bear. But when the industry keeps changing around you and the people who are making those changes don't look like us, we're all still playing catch up. So that's what I have on that. I think that was a great clip because I do think it's still 100% true. When we were in college and upperclassmen, it was starting to look like when we were getting a chance to look at what the future workforce might look like, it was starting to get scary out there because it's like, all right, so what are we going to be doing? And to know that 20 years out, most of us are in a different industry than what we studied in college, that is indicative of everything that we've been saying right here. So,
Yeah.
no shade to anybody. We're just talking about what reality is.
Yeah, I mean, that's very true. And we can look at anything from the divorce rates in the United States from when we were in college now. It's so many things that have changed. It was always, this generation is setting the next generation up. This is the first time in history that parents are gonna do better than their offspring. This is the first time in history that's happened. Never in the history of America being America has it been a moment where you can look at the general population and say offspring is not going to do better than parents. Yeah, think
Yeah.
about it. Like
Yeah.
whether we're talking about in the 1800s, the railroad came and industry built up from there, so parents were able to, so offsprings were able to do better. We're in AI right now, and we have an industry that's gonna be the next big thing, but it's actually able to take jobs.
Yeah.
First time.
Yeah.
First time that's happened. So that's kinda where this whole piece kinda wraps up, really, but it was a good clip. This is about interesting
Great movie.
clips. That's interesting.
Yeah, it was a good clip, and it got some things going. And I definitely think whoever gives it some really good thought are gonna have some feelings about it. I mean, the truth of the matter, like we said, was you can just look back through history and see that what we're saying is true. You know what I mean? Pay has not come up commensurate with the times. Industry is not creating the kind of jobs that they used to, and no matter the education, sometimes you can still slip through the cracks. So. I mean, if that's something somebody wants to engage us in a real conversation about, I'd be happy to talk about it. Y'all can hit us up, room518pod@gmail.com. We'll be happy to talk to you about it, or hit us up on the socials, and we'll come at you seriously, and we'll have a real frank and honest discussion about it, because that is something that we're gonna have to think about. I mean, we're talking about an age where the government now, run by Trump, is talking about proposing 50-year mortgages. Like, can you believe that?
Bro,
30
30-year
years are tough,
mortgages was already a ripoff, bro. That's what's
but you're
crazy.
talking about 50-year. The only way to really own that home is to buy it coming out of high school. You know
This
what
is
I'm
what's
saying?
crazy. This is what's
Otherwise, you're
crazy.
gonna die with a mortgage for sure.
Cars cost as much as houses used to cost. That's what's bananas.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
pay for a car in 5 to 8 years now. But it takes you 30 years to pay for a house, and house don't
Yeah.
have simple interest.
Yeah. So you can tell that the aim is to keep us on the dole, right? They used to always talk about back in the day, they don't want us on the government tip, you know what I mean? But now it's like they want you to be broke. They want you to be sick. They want you to be unhoused. You know what I'm saying? And
No,
dependent on the government for something, because
there's a
we're
quote.
not all going to be billionaires. So everybody else beneath that has to be able to find a way to scratch out a life for themselves. I mean, what else are we doing?
Bro, there's a interview from the gentleman that runs Blackstone. Anybody don't know what Blackstone Corporation is? Look them up. He says that the average American is gonna be happy to rent from us, to rent a house at some point. And corporate America is definitely taking over property. So it's a lot of rental properties
We bought
that's
our
being
house
done.
from a company.
That's crazy for
Mortgage.
real. They actually sold it. That's
Yeah,
incredible. That's
yeah,
actually
and we got a decent deal. You know why? Because it had been on the market for a long time, and they were just ready to get rid of it. But we lost a bunch of houses. Let me tell you something. When we went house hunting, it was a long time. It took us 7 months to find a house, and not because we weren't finding things that we liked, but every time we went to put in a bid,
somebody say
mortgage
cash.
company, we were in competition with mortgage companies, not other families looking to buy homes. So when somebody's coming in and purchasing the home or making an offer 20 or 30K over your best,
And they willing to pay cash.
cash offers, of course they're going to take these. So there's no more we're going to send the family a letter and tell them that we're a good wholesome family that just wants to live in your home. They like, man, they got 30K cash, can you match? And when
That's
the answer
exactly
is no, it's like, hey man, you seem like a nice family, I wish you guys luck. And that happened to us so many times. And it kept being, I'm telling you, it was realty companies over and over again. They
that
were not
happened. That happened.
families. They weren't other families, bro. And that is the most disheartening thing out there, to know that companies are getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And they're competing with us as individuals now. It's not company against company. My little
It's
old
company.
family was competing against realty companies to buy a home for us to live in.
Yep,
It's
that's what
ridiculous.
we are. That's what we are. Wow, that's actually a subject matter. That's actually a So we're probably gonna revisit
We
this on
might
the
circle
episode.
back to that one.
Yeah, man.
Is
We're
it my
about
turn?
pushing the culture forward and getting you where you need to be, and that's one of them moments. That's one of them conversations, baby. So we'll probably be revisiting
Believe it.
that. But on to number 4, bro. That's you.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's see. We had trusting experts for facts. Okay. Yeah. This was one that came up quite a bit in the episode. I don't think we released a clip of this, but let's check this out.
But the truth is, how do we get back to that middle ground? It's me talking to, you, the quiet loud guy. How do we get back to that middle
Oh,
ground?
me.
Yeah,
I
bro.
mean,
You.
I think on every front, we should have a trusted committee of people who can come out and talk to us about healthcare, who can come out and talk to us about foreign policy, who can come out and talk to, and they don't have to be the same people. They're committees. They can just be committees of people that we can trust because of their background, because we know where they came from. Nobody was asking Martin Luther King what his bracket was for basketball. They came to him to find out about civil rights. You bring
And he
in
wasn't famous.
people who we can trust, right? Who we can trust in a given space, and we have those folks come out and deliver information that the masses the majority of people will believe on the strength of who they are and what they've done. Not political,
Yeah.
just facts, just data, and just, we care about getting, disseminating this particular information to you in a factual way so that we can get back to all knowing the same thing. Yeah, man. I thought that was a good clip. I thought it was
Hey,
a good
man,
clip. I seem super amped.
that's my
Seem
favorite
super
clip
amped.
out of the whole. Just so y'all know, out of everything that we done shot, that's my favorite clip of that. And it's because of the fact that he came with so much energy. I think that he doesn't get to do that on his show. His show is definitely a little bit more the quiet loud. So you kind of like, you keep it laid back. But to hear how aggressively he approached that one, man, it really made me happy. And I remember thinking to myself, this is what they need to see of you. This is what the way, because you was like, what did I just do? And I'm like, no, you need to keep this shit. So
Yeah.
I love that
Yeah.
episode, man. And what it does is anytime we talk about anything political, we can tell where your comfort zone is, where you're like comfortable with being aggressive in the moment, which I ain't gonna lie, man. I feel that you are still a politician at heart, man. And I can see it in you when I see those type of things, and it just makes me happy, bro. So I'm gonna say
Mm.
that. And I'm gonna leave this one alone, but that's where I stand. What was your biggest thing about that, man?
I think that was a great episode. I think you have a good way, and you always have, of getting me to monologue a bit, of getting me to talk about something, open up a bit. You asked the question. I think the original question was, what is it going to take for us to all come back, or try
To
to
be more in the
bring things
middle.
back,
To
right?
be more in the
And,
middle. We
and
we all over here.
right,
Either extreme right
yeah.
or extreme left.
Right, and we talked about even in this bit here, we talked about how they're really good at placing wedge issues, things that we
Yeah.
shouldn't even be arguing about, things that we don't need to be on
Yeah.
either end of the issue about. They're good at making a big wedge out of. I mean, think people were just taking sides about a effing Super Bowl performance. Like, what difference does that make? What difference does that
Bro.
make?
Bro, I
We're talking
almost
about.
wanted to drop an episode about that. I'm happy that you
Yeah, I
said
mean,
keep going.
it's just ridiculous, especially seeing as in our lifetimes, okay? They weren't always super celebrity Super Bowl halftime shows. Sometimes they were just, core style marching bands, or, puppet shows, or whatever the case it was. It was not always, it wasn't until, and that's a black thing too, if you think about it, because Michael Jackson was the first big Super Bowl performance, right?
That's
And
because In
before
Living
that,
Color was busting their ass.
because of that, you're right. The year before, In Living Color did counter programming against
Yeah.
the whack Super Bowl halftime show, and they won the day. And so Super Bowl said, no, we're going to get the biggest artist in the whole world so that
Yeah.
thing doesn't happen again. And that's what they've been doing ever since. You know what I mean? So for the last 30 plus years, they've been having these really over the top performances so that nobody else can counter program them again. Now, truth be told, they tried to do it last night.
Didn't work.
Okay. Did not
Didn't work.
work. This was a record setting Super Bowl performance, and I didn't even watch it. So they didn't need my little two eyes to even help with this. I didn't even watch. I didn't watch the Super Bowl. So don't come at me, folks.
Yeah,
Um
he not a sports guy, man. This man is
so
not a sports guy.
it's got nothing to do with Bad Bunny or anything else. I watched him on SNL. He was really funny. So I'm not concerned about that, but I do think that the main tenor of what I was talking about in this clip is that we need to get back to sharing the same set of information, sharing the same facts. You can line up on either side of that issue wherever you want to, but we have to be playing with the same set of facts. We have to be playing with the same set of rules, and right now that's not the case. It's been, ever since Trump came down that escalator, it has been an assault on facts. It's been an assault on truth. His first communications person, Kellyanne Conway, back in the first administration, coined the term alternative facts. There is no such thing. A fact is a
No.
fact is a fact. So you can't say, well, we have these alternative facts. This is what we believe. There's no such thing as an alternative to a fact. The alternative to a fact is a
A
falsity.
lie.
It's a lie. So you can't say alternative fact, right? So we need to get back to a place where even if we are not agreeing, we're playing with the same set of information, right? And we know that these things to be the way they are, whether you agree with them or you disagree with them, is up to you. And that's why I believe, we need to get back to trusting experts, people who are subject matter experts out there in the field every day, not somebody saying, I know more about such and such than the such and such do. No, you don't. You come out and tell black people you don't know, I'm less racist than anybody you ever met. Bro, come on.
That's a
I'm less
lie.
this.
That's
I know
another
you don't
lie.
know no more about this. Right. Come on, man. Everything. And we're getting to a point now where it's just a permission structure. He's saying things and they go, well, I'm going to agree with this, knowing that what it sounds like is racist, knowing that what it sounds like is sexist, knowing that what it sounds like is xenophobic, but he's giving you the permission to agree with it. You see what I'm saying? Or to say,
Yeah.
right here, well, there's something else out there, and I'm going to believe this.
Well,
Instead
see, I
of
think that we need to what we
believing the
also need
facts
to
on the ground.
yeah,
Hmm.
I think that what we also need to recognize with this administration is everything they do is a test until it's proven that they're okay doing it. So
Right.
anything that they do it, they give you a little bit. And we talked about this in another word I can't say, desensitization being
Desensitization.
a yeah. We talk
We should have
we
played that
talked
clip.
about this. I was drinking the last time I used that word. But the thing is, though, when you look at it, what they do is they go, okay, let's sprinkle a little bit on them. Did they take it? If they take it, let's give them more. The problem with America is we got to stop being so comfortable. We got to stop taking it because we're comfortable. We have to say something in the moment. We have to stand on it, and then we have to hold you accountable. Whatever that means in that moment. It doesn't always mean boycotting something. Sometimes it means, everybody stepping up and going, hey, this is so wrong. I'm not going to watch this network who believes in it, which is another form of boycott, really. But we do need to start stepping up and making sure as Americans, because I think the problem with when you use the term boycotting, you always think black people. And the truth is, we're at a
Okay.
point right now where it needs to mean the American who doesn't want what we see to keep happening to be the case.
Hmm.
So there's the problem. We have to get so uncomfortable. We have to get so comfortable with being uncomfortable that we're able to push the needle forward. Remember, guys, the reason that we do this show and the reason that we always tell you guys that we're moving the culture forward is because it does come with a lot of uncomfortable conversation. But it also allows us to push to the next standard that we need to reach because that's what we're trying to do. And in this case, what we're looking at in a presidency that we're dealing with a person who's he's narcissistic, he's a pedophilic, um, he's he's a lot of different things. He's a criminal in general. He's a thief. He's a grifter, as my guy says all the time. So we have to look at that because we don't need an opportunist at president. We need a person who cares about everybody at president. So we're dealing with the situation that he used opportunity to kind of get what he wants out of us as a people. He understands that separation equals power for him.
Right.
The
Right.
more that we become the
Exactly.
more that we come together, the more that we use experts to get what we need, the points across that we need to get across, it matters. It matters that we have the right people in the health department, that we have the right people in the defense department, that we have the right people in the FBI. It matters. These can't be people that serves a person because it's their job to serve a country. So this was a real good one, man. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah,
Oh, it's
man.
my
I
turn
agree.
again, the last one, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so the last one is remembering legends, man. So with this one, we're gonna go through the remembering legends, man. We talked about two different people passed within a month, man. That has been pretty big for us. We lost the she
That always makes me laugh when you say that.
Isaiah Whitlock and also Catherine O'Hara, man. Two greats in their own respect. And we're gonna go through the video of the snippet that we cut of Isaiah Whitlock. We'll talk about Catherine. In the recent news, bro, your boy,
Yeah.
the she man, Isaiah Whitlock
Isaiah
just
Whitlock. Yeah, man.
passed
I love
away.
that guy, man.
Shit. Shit, boy. Shit. 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 Shit, partner. Shit, partner. Shit.
I mean, he is the quintessential one of those that guy from that thing. Because you know what you know him from, but you don't know if the person you're talking to has seen that thing. I
I hear
remember him
you.
from all kinds of stuff, man. Yeah, dude was in The Wire. So the kid used to watch this show. It's an animated show called Apple and Onion back in the day. Shout out to Apple and Onion. They don't make it anymore, but he
Okay.
had good taste in cartoons. And everything was, all the
Wow.
characters were like some kind of a food item, right? And so this dude had a character on there. And this was the thing that made me watch the show in the first place. And they really had a catchy theme song as well. You know how I like that. But
Lord have mercy.
he had a character on there, and he was called Mayonnaise. He was the mayor. And so he was a jar of mayonnaise. You know, his
Bro.
catchphrase was, he used to say,
Fish and chips. Have you lost your mind?
and that was a good one.
Hey, that's funny to me because when you first told me that, I had never seen it, bro. And then when I watched the clip, when you cut it, I was like, oh, hell no. Yes.
That's all right. That's why I had to find it, and it took me a minute to find it. I
Oh,
had to find it. I
man.
was like, I'm gonna find a clip of him saying it somewhere because I heard it. I wasn't watching it with the kid. I just heard it down the hallway. It was just one of those times, and he didn't say fish and chips. He had just said chips like that, like he always says it. And I
Yeah.
stopped and I ran toward his room. Like, what are you watching? You know, so he went back, he was like, oh, that was mayonnaise. And I'm like, mayonnaise? And so I
Oh,
go back
shit.
and I watch it, and I'm just like, man, that was so funny. And it was so him, you know,
Yeah.
and what makes that just such a uniquely funny thing for him to do is the fact that he owned it on on a professional level. Something
Yeah.
that we in the culture, we've heard people do. You've heard people do that growing up,
All the
you know,
time. Older
barbecues
black
and,
men.
you
Older
know,
black men.
right.
What?
Football coaches and, you know, your family members at barbecues and around the house and whatever else. You know, you're going to hear somebody coming up. You would have heard somebody say it just like
Just
that.
like that.
Any one of those ways, and the length of it kind of just tells you how incredulous whatever it was they heard was in the first place. You want me to do what? You know what I'm saying?
Shit.
And it's like, however long it is like how ridiculous they found whatever it was you said to them beforehand. And so
Facts.
that's why it makes me laugh when I watch that package of him doing that, where it's just like, well, those real long ones was probably somewhere somebody said something real stupid. And it's just because the other ones, he says it real quick. Oh, boy, you know what I'm saying? Something like that, where it's just like, oh, get out of here.
Yeah.
But the ones where he does it for a really long time is like, oh, he heard something stupid, you know, and that's how it
You out of
is.
line in that
I had
moment.
a
You
football
out of line.
coach that used to say it, you know, and he'd toss his hat down and say it. And the funniest thing to me is he was picking his hat up and still saying it at the same time. And I'm like, you know, you're still saying it. Like, pick your hat. If you done bent down, pick your hat back up at the same time. And it just really tells you how ridiculous they think it is. So I thought that was a really good clip. I thought he was somebody worth remembering. Like I said, that quintessential, that guy from that thing. A lot of times you may not know these folks' names, but they still have a really profound impact on you, just like Catherine O'Hara. You know,
Yeah.
she is not of the culture, but she broke through because we all know her, you know. Everybody knows who she is, and whether it is, no matter what projects it's from, you got a pretty good laugh out of her. If it was her relentless nature to get back home to the son that they had left, not once but twice. You know what I mean?
Twice. She
And
was the honorary American bad mom, but good mom. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right, because she stopped at nothing to get back once she realized what had happened.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
And so I think it was just so good, and it was something, everybody's done something dumb where it's just like, oh God, now you have to pull out all the stops to make this thing right again. And the kind of maybe oblivious nature of her character in Beetlejuice, you know, they had bought this house that contained spirits or whatever, and other than being afraid of them, they wanted to find a way to control them, to have some fun with them, to be entertained by them. You know, I thought was a
thanks.
very interesting movie. But like I was telling you before, probably one of the last most sustained things I personally watched her in was Schitt's Creek, and I thought she was brilliant in that. I thought she was hilarious as, you know, she played the mom, the matriarch of this once very wealthy family that all of a sudden was as broke as the brokest person you could find, and the fact that she was still very highfalutin while being so downtrodden, I thought was really hilarious, and it was just a really um, great moment in time for her, and I think that, anything I've ever seen her in, and it's been more than those 3 things, but those are just 3 standouts, but I think she was a brilliant talent, white or black, whatever, it don't come down to that sometimes, it just comes down to, can you connect with us who are watching you, and I
Exactly.
think she was able to do that. Yeah, so I think she is a legend worth remembering. What do you think?
Man, to be honest with you, you said it all, man. I really do believe that I think it's crazy to me that everybody doesn't remember her from like Home Alone. But you have a lot of I realize like because my lady remembers her from Beetlejuice. She knows her from Home
Mm,
Alone. That's her thing. But
mhm,
the standout thing for her is Beetlejuice. Just like the standout thing for you is Schitt's Creek, which speaks volumes to how far her journey, right? Because that's over a 30-year
yeah,
time period, man. To see the
mhm,
difference in what one person thinks is great was what they remember her for versus another, which means she touched a lot of people, man. Because realistically, I mean, and when you say a actor touches someone, right? It's not necessarily to say that they inspired them. It's just to say, hey, look, this was a keystone point in my life that I remember, something that
yeah,
I look back, I remember where I was doing back then. I remember where I was at. I remember what point of life that was in for me. I was playing with my sisters. Me and my sisters used to have fights and then watch Home Alone, or when
right,
Beetlejuice came out, we would all sit around and watch Beetlejuice together. So she was able to be a part of a lot of our lives that way, right? And
yeah,
it's
yeah,
pretty
for
dope.
sure.
I do hate that because the way that she passed, from public perspective, it looks like it kinda happened fast and went from she was still being interviewed on the streets till all of a sudden she was
Yeah,
gone.
yeah, 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 they
Uh,
said it was a very brief illness, so I think it might
yeah,
have been too fast for her family as well. I mean, nobody likes to
yeah,
lose people, and I think to have a brief illness where you were working 3, 4, 5 months ago, and now
you're
you're
gone.
gone. So
Yeah,
I think even for her family, that probably was brief and quick. If we're finding it to be kind of a quick thing, they're probably finding that same thing as well, even though they were on the inside actually dealing with it. But
yeah,
yeah, I feel for them, and I know that her family is probably understanding just how the public and her fans are feeling about her as well. So I mean, when you're public like that, not only does your family have a piece of you, but all of your supporters and fans and all of them, they hold you in their hearts as well. So people like her and Isaiah Whitlock, can rest assured
yeah,
knowing that they hold a place in our hearts, not just us as Americans, but probably around the world. I mean, most of the stuff they did were like cultural phenomenons. So,
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
for Isaiah Whitlock, I mean, even if you hadn't seen some of the other things he'd done coming up, The Wire was a moment in time.
yeah. I
Uh,
mean, it's a lot of
yeah,
people that
Home
say
Alone was a
shit
moment in
like that
time.
now. It's a lot of people
Right.
that say
So,
shit the way he says it because he said it that way. Though
right.
I think that came from old black
Oh,
man
of
culture,
course. Of
like
course. Yeah. We
you
had
know, but
already, and that was my point before. We had already heard it before, but
yeah,
that was
yeah,
something new that he was injecting into the lexicon that a bunch of other people hadn't heard. So,
agreed, agreed.
yeah, man, I think that this was I mean, we could go on and on with these clips, man. I think for us to have only put out a handful of episodes, I think
Yeah,
that these were some very wide ranging and diverse clips, but and that's kind of indicative of how wide ranging our conversations get on 518. I feel like we could do this a lot, but we're approaching that hour mark, and we might want to
no,
let
for
these
sure.
folks go. Maybe we'll do this again in another handful of episodes, just for maybe an in case you missed it kind of a deal. And we'll be sure to clip those too, if that's something that you think we should do, guys. Thoreau, what do you think, man? How'd you like this
I
episode?
think that, it's definitely because we're growing and we want you guys to grow with us. I think that's where we should be with it, right? Like we're in a place right now where there is no right or wrong answer for what we're doing except for to keep bringing you guys in. There's no point in us releasing. We could have released a brand new episode. We had one on the
Yeah,
books. And we
yeah,
kind of held off because it's like, no, it's such a good episode. We really want to get more viewers on it. So let's slow down, because we're developing fast. We feel like we're getting better and better at the craft, but we
Over
want to
time.
make sure that we're grabbing y'all and bringing you guys with us. So we're hoping that somebody watched this episode. We're hoping that 10, 20 people watched this episode and went, oh, they did have some interesting stuff that we want to go back and watch. And we invite you guys to go back and watch it. We invite you guys to come into the room with us and sit down with us, have a drink while you listen to us, work out while you listen to us, drive while you listen to us. But overall, we want you to be a part of moving the culture forward. We want you to comment. We want you to like. We want you to share. We definitely want you to subscribe, but we want to hear what you have to say so that we can push the culture forward. We push the culture, whether it's hip hop, whether it's family, whether it's politics. We're pushing the culture forward, meaning that we are everyday men who have everyday conversations. It's not always, sometimes it's a little bit more Afrocentric, but for the most part, it's broad conversation about cultural norms that needs to be pushed forward as we get older, as we mature. And we would love to have you guys there for those. That's all I got, man. It's been room five. Dan, you got anything else?
Nope. Other than to say that we will, when we release the clips for these clips that we showed you guys today, we will link them to the episodes that they came from. All right. Just so if y'all want to go and check those out, you'll be able to just go ahead and click the link on the shorts that we have them on. If you're watching this on Instagram, we invite you to go back to YouTube, like and subscribe, and check the clips out there as well. That way you can get the episodes when they're fresh, watch the clips when they're coming out fresh. We want you to be along on this journey. We're having such a good time doing it. This is what we always do. This is our regular, but we're inviting you into the world. And so we're going to keep on doing that. Yeah, like Darrell said, the next episode I think is going to be a really good one. It's something we haven't quite done yet. And
Yeah.
so we're just trying to get the word out and let people know, catch up to where we are and roll with us on this journey, man. Take us out, bro.
All right, man. It's been room 518 where we're pushing the culture forward so that we can get you where you want to be and where the culture has to be. And we're going to get you there on time. Y'all guys be good, man. We appreciate you.